There's one man who refuses to follow the script.
We have rules here, you know that. And if you don't follow the rules, then what are we?
One man stands tall in the face of adversity.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
A man who rises above the ashes of hot takes.
What do you care what they say?
Easy for you to say they all love you.
It's just noise, man. You're really good at it. You might be great.
That man is Nick Kostos, and this is You Better You Bet.
If loving sports is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Where narratives are challenged and the truth is spoken.
I told you what was going to happen last week. If you didn't listen, that's on you.
This isn't talk, it's perspective.
It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry. Tremendous Sports Thursday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Thursday morning, the world of sports is buzzing. And we are going to get to all the big stories, including the NFC team that I think absolutely could field an explosive offense this season that nobody's talking about. We will get to that coming up later this hour. I will also, here on the eve of the second half of the Major League Baseball season, starting tonight with the Phillies and the Mets, I will give everybody Nick Kostos' official World Series prediction. Who will win the Fall Classic? That's coming up next hour on the show. And my early handicap and early pick for the World Cup final on Sunday with Argentina and Spain. 310-840-4910 is the number. YouTube.com/@thekostos, TheKostos. You can follow your boy, Nick Kostos, on all social media platforms at the Kostos, TheKostos. But we officially begin the tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet with more Argentinian magic. More Messi magic. Another England choke job in a long, decades-spanning run of English choke jobs. Oh, we got another one yesterday. And I will make the argument as we move along here that yesterday's English choke job against Argentina in the waning moments, and really we can call it the final half hour of the game, is the worst out of all of the English choke jobs. And there are many of them. And we are going to detail each and every one of them to really pound the point home. And if you're wondering, does Nick have some sour feelings? Is there sour grapes? Is Nick upset because he loved England and he bet on England yesterday against Argentina? Your answer: yes. You're damn right I am. I'm furious about it because they had this game. I don't want to say they had it in the bag. I felt like they were going to win until they inexplicably changed things up and decided to play nothing but defense against Leo Messi and Argentina. Absolutely ridiculous. One of those things that you knew in the moment was not going to end well. As it's happening, you're thinking, when is the shoe going to drop? When's Argentina going to equalize? And then they equalize, and then you're wondering, what are they going to take the lead? And then they take the lead, and then it's just, can we just end the game now? England are not going to score. Just blow the damn whistle. Boop, 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 boop. Just blow the whistle. Boop, 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 boop. Enzo Fernandez, a strike from outside the box to equalize in the 85th minute. And then Lautaro Martinez with the header to win it in the 92nd. Both assists coming, of course, from the great Leo Messi. Final score, Argentina 2, England 1. And I did tell you this a couple days ago, right? Now, I'm going to stick with my prediction that Spain's going to win the World Cup, even though they're playing the great Leo Messi in Argentina. I did tell you on Monday and on Tuesday, prior to France and Spain in Tuesday's semifinal, that game featured the two best teams, but that England and Argentina was the true dramatic game in the semifinal. And that absolutely played out. Because Spain suffocated the game against France. Like, you watched it because it's the semifinal and it's two great teams, but that was not exactly masterpiece theater as far as a sporting event goes. Yesterday, masterpiece theater. Yesterday, award-winning stuff. Argentina 2, England 1. And to the victors go the spoils. Another berth in the World Cup final for Leo Messi and Argentina. Their second consecutive after beating France in 2022. And third in 4 World Cups, because remember, in 2014, Argentina went to the final and lost in a brutally boring game to Mario Götze and Germany 1-0 in Brazil. So this has been a tremendous run by the Argentinian national team, and they're looking to culminate it with back-to-back World Cup championships and have the chance to do that Sunday against La Roja, against Spain. And we'll begin with the Argentinians. And we will get to England and Thomas Tuchel and Jude Bellingham and what an absolute disgrace and choke job this was from England. But I want to say this to start, because I do this. We all do this, right? Whether you talk about sports for a living, whether you're a sports fan, whatever it is, right? When you have a game that plays out like it did yesterday, we collectively, I'm part of this. Did the team that lost, did they lose the game? Or did the team that did they actually win the game? What was it more of? And there are instances where you can absolutely answer that question and say, no, the team that won, they won the game. Or you could say the team that lost, no, they actually lost the game more than the team that won it. This, I believe, is one of those instances where both things are true. England did lose the game, but you know what? Let's give credit where credit is due. Argentina went out and took this game from England. And despite the fact that England were the better team through 2/3 of the game and England led 1-0, I can honestly say, as someone that bet on England, I'm rooting for England. I desperately wanted England to win this game. I can say in all honesty, Argentina deserved to win. And England deserved to lose. And both those statements are true. Messi, Scaloni, the terrific coach who always keeps his cool, who's going now, by the way, for back-to-back World Cup championships and could solidify his place as one of the greatest managers in the history of international football, of international soccer. He's fantastic. Enzo Fernandez, the Chelsea man. And for people that don't know, and maybe you're not big in the soccer weeds, that's what I'm here for, right? I do the work so you don't have to. Enzo Fernandez, who's the tatted up dude for Argentina, who scored the equalizer yesterday and had several awesome opportunities, great strikes from outside the box that just missed. You felt like he was due. He has been embroiled in a dispute with his domestic club, Chelsea, in England, trying to get his way to Real Madrid to play for Jose Mourinho in La Liga in Spain, and that's been a whole hullabaloo. And Enzo Fernandez says, you know what? I'm not going to let this serve as a distraction for me and this national team. He goes out and absolutely balls. And again, if you watch this game yesterday, yes, he had the equalizer, but there were numerous chances before that. And when I say chances, I don't mean to make it like he's missing wide open nets. That's not what I mean. Just that he had a couple shots from outside the box at distance that were on target and maybe just went over the crossbar. Or Jordan Pickford, the English keeper, who stood on his head because Argentina could have scored 7 goals in this game. Pickford just nudging out a play. What a game from Enzo Fernandez. What a goal by Lautaro Martinez off the unbelievable cross from Leo Messi. And really, the difference between these two teams laid bare in the final moments after Argentina took the lead at 2-1. Because England at that point still has 7-8 minutes to equalize because of all the extra time, right? Because Argentina celebrates, you have the hydration break. So a lot of time for England to potentially equalize. Not that anyone thought that was going to happen, right? Right? England would send these crosses into the box, right? And they've got Dan Byrne on the field, who's 6'7", and you can't teach that. I should do the meme, right? He's a tall mofo, right? And they're sending these crosses into the box for Dan Byrne and Harry Kane. And these crosses aren't even close. They're not even in the zip code of hitting Harry Kane's forehead, of Dan Byrne's head, of Jude Bellingham, of any player on England. They're not even in the ballpark, these crosses. And then you take a look, and look, it's Messi, right? So he's the greatest of all time. But still, that's the difference, right? Where you watch, and I'm sure everybody did, the game-winning goal, right? From Messi to Lautaro Martinez. You couldn't have a better cross than this. It's a thing of absolute beauty. Curled directly onto his forehead. And there's an open net. And all Martinez said, like, I could have scored that. You could have scored that goal. Perfect pass. All you have to do, hit it with your head. And it's going into an open net. Perfection. Absolute perfection from Lionel Messi. And that's the difference in the game. The greatness of Leo Messi. And Argentina's indomitable, incontrovertible, indisputable heart of a champion. Where you watch this team play. And we've now reached the point after beating England. Because, it's one thing if it's Egypt. It's another thing if it's Switzerland. It's an entirely different old chestnut if it's Cape Verde. England represents a different level of opponent. Where you could have easily, and I did make this case, and I was wrong, right? That Argentina were barely scraping by. And the fact that it took them basically like 119 minutes to beat Cape Verde, and they needed some questionable officiating and 3 goals late to beat Egypt, and then got a second yellow card by Ambrolo, the Swiss striker, and then obviously like the floodgates open from there, they win the game 3-1 in extra time. I looked at that and said, you know what? I don't think this team's that good. I think they're scraping by. I don't think the level of competition they played has been that great. And I look objectively, by the way, at England. And look, France is better than Spain on paper. Spain beat them. Spain's the better team. In the same way, England's better than Argentina on paper. England was favored in the game. England's better than Argentina. But you know what? When you've got the heart of a champion, it doesn't matter. And Argentina proved it. And I paid to see it, and I lost with my bet. They proved that it doesn't matter whether it's Cape Verde, it doesn't matter whether it's Egypt, it doesn't matter whether it's Switzerland. No. When you do this in the final 10 minutes of the game against England, and they are a punchline, and they will, thanks to this result, continue to be a punchline for at least the next 2 years until Euro 2028. They may be a punchline, but let's not get this, and I'm going to criticize the you-know-what out of them. But let's keep it real here. England is one of the best soccer teams in the world. They are. They are filled with talent. They made it to the semifinal. They led Argentina in the semifinal. This is not some curtain-jerking jabroni team. They're awesome. And Argentina said, piss off. Piss off. Down 1-0, 2-1 victory. And I don't know how you out there watching or listening don't feel the way that I felt, which is this Argentina team, this specific one, and it has not been, and we'll get into this, right? This has not been the case, because I think we're now retconning this, all of us, to where like Leo Messi has always dominated with Argentina, which has absolutely not been the case over the course of his international career. This specific Argentinian squad, the 2026 Argentinian national team in this World Cup, they are the Derek Jeter New York Yankees. They are the Tom Brady New England Patriots. You think the game's over? You think you've got it won? Oh, you're up in the 9th inning? Well, guess what? Here comes Derek Jeter, and here comes Bernie Williams, and here comes Paul O'Neill, and here comes Mariano Rivera. Exit light. And tonight, I took 8 years of Spanish. If I had paid attention, I could sing that to you en Espanol. But I can't because I didn't pay attention. Oh, you're up 2 scores in the fourth quarter against Tom Brady and the Patriots? Oh, you think you're going to win? Oh, you think you're going to win this game? Nope. Brady gonna take it from you. Like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. Gonna rip your heart out and show it to you. Still beating. Tell me right now, tell me with a straight face that that's not what's going on here. Yeah, you think you've got this one? Yeah, really? Egypt up 2-0? Yeah, you think you got this one? You're scoring these goals on the counter? You're looking absolutely deadly? Everyone in the world, including me, thinks the match is over? You think you've got this? Pretty stupid in retrospect, right? You think England have got this? Anthony Gordon's goal, England up 1-0? How dumb am I? I felt like England were going to win the game. I'm going nuts cheering for England after that goal. I'm like, oh, yeah, they got this. They're going to expose Argentina as the frauds they've been throughout this tournament. And you know what? They did it again. Oops. They did it again. They're ridiculous. They never say die. And when the going gets tough, they get even tougher. My friend Rich Gannon, former NFL name drop, my buddy Rich Gannon always used to say, there are 2 types of people in this world. People that feel pressure and people that apply pressure. You tell me which team felt pressure with the score England 1, Argentina 0, which team felt pressure, and which team applied pressure. Which one was it? Which one was it? Unbelievable win. Scaloni after the game saying that, and you feel it when he says it because he's right, that in these closing moments, the Argentinian players played like 7 and 8-year-olds. And he means that as a compliment, meaning they played free. They played loose, unafraid of the consequences of losing. Meanwhile, you have England carrying 60 years of baggage. Like wheezing and gasping. I don't want to hear anyone talk about, well, England was tired. No excuse for it. No, Argentina didn't look tired. What, do they have a better training regimen? Maybe. I don't want to hear it. Bottom line, I bet England. I rooted for England. Argentina wanted it more. What's the counter? What's the counter for it? And for Lionel Messi, who's now on the verge here, and they're dogs against Spain, but anyone want to count them out? Of winning a 2nd consecutive World Cup. We now, because especially, and it's awesome, I love that this has happened. There are some soccer fans that like hate when people get into the sport. It's like you like an indie rock band and they start to get popular and you get mad about it. It's weird. Like, I love soccer. You know that, right? I talk about soccer in a way I feel like not a lot of people do. Because I've been paying attention to it for a really, really long time. I love that soccer's exploding with popularity. I love that soccer's got new fans. I love it. Given that I have the historical background and context that I do as someone that's followed the sport religiously for a long time, though, I can provide some context to what's happening right now. Because the feeling almost has to be, how could it not be, if you're a casual soccer fan, that Leo Messi has basically been doing this with Argentina forever. When it actually could not be less of the case, right? In 2010, in South Africa, Germany annihilated Argentina 4-0 on Germany's way to the World Cup semifinal, where they would lose to Spain. Spain would go on to win the World Cup. So thrashed by Germany in 2010. 2014, okay, Argentina makes the final, right? And then gets stuffed into a locker by Germany. Mario Götze scores in extra time. The Germans win 1-0. And Gonzalo Higuain is a name that a lot of people don't remember. Missed a sitter, basically, for Argentina in the first half that would have put them up 1-0. 2018, get blitzed by France in the knockout rounds. And France's route to a World Cup in 2018. You have Copa America failures along the way. Copa America is basically like South America's version of the Euro Cup, right? Losses to Uruguay in penalties, and Uruguay's route to a Copa America championship. losing to Chile in Chile's unbelievable run in South America, to the point that Leo Messi, prior to the 2022 World Cup, you can look this up. I'm not making it up. It's all public record. Everyone knows it if you pay attention, and it's cool if you don't, if you're new. That's why I'm here, right? He was talking openly about retiring from the Argentinian national team because he couldn't win. They couldn't lift the trophy. At Barcelona, he can't stop lifting trophies. Ballon d'Or winner. La Liga, which is obviously the Spanish domestic league. Besting Real Madrid. Not every year, but most years, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. Champions Leagues. He won it all, except for country. Couldn't win with Argentina. Don't forget that when you think about the greatness of Leo Messi and this run that they've been on. Don't forget the past struggles. All the heartbreak, all the losses. Because it's not like he rolled out of bed, starts playing for Argentina, and they start winning. That's absolutely not what happened. And to further compound the greatness of this guy, the overwhelming greatness that seeps off of him like sweat off of me here on a 90-degree day in New York City, keep this in mind. He's 39 years old. He plays for Miami. For what are they? Inter Miami, whatever they are. Inter Miami in MLS. He plays for Major League Soccer. He plays in the United States of America. 39 years old. And guess what? He's the best player in the world still. This would be like if Victor Wembanyama played for the Dallas Power in the Big Three. No disrespect to the Big Three. It ain't the NBA. No disrespect to MLS. It ain't the Premier League. It ain't La Liga. It ain't Ligue 1. It ain't Serie A. It ain't the Bundesliga. It ain't. He plays for Inter Miami. And he's the best player in the world, and he's 39 years old. Do you understand how crazy that is? He's coming into this World Cup. It's not like anyone thinks he's bad, but I'll tell you, and maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm the idiot here. I came into this World Cup thinking Messi's going to be really good. I didn't think he was going to be this at 39, with a couple years in America under his belt, not playing anymore in one of the big leagues in Europe. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous what he's doing and what this team has done. Heart of a champion, never say die. And I don't want to hear anything about the fix being in. I don't want to hear anything about VAR. I don't want to hear anything about the level of competition. They took all of that talk, rolled it up in a pipe, and now you and me both have to smoke it after yesterday. Because they beat not Egypt, not Switzerland, not Cape Verde. No. They beat England in come-from-behind fashion. They blitzed England in come-from-behind fashion. Last note on Argentina. The historical ramifications of this should not be lost on anybody. In 1982, and I'm not like a world historian, like I know way more about sports than I do about world history. But in 1982, and I don't even know like who's right and who's wrong, if anyone's right or wrong, I don't know much about it. All I know is in 1982, England and Argentina were embroiled in like an actual like war dispute over the Falkland Islands. And Argentina has hated England ever since. So when Diego Maradona scores illegally the Hand of God goal in 1986, it's basically like, you stole from us, you took the Falkland Islands from us, we take the World Cup from you. And they take extra pleasure and extra satisfaction in beating England. Imagine what they feel like right now. What a win. What a team. What a player. This is why we love sports. We're just getting started here. Tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet. Nick Kostos and you on Westwood One Sports. On the other side, another English choke job in a long line of them. Who's to blame? Where do they go from here? We'll talk about it next. Presented by BetMGM.
Messi engancha y va, tiró con la derecha.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Laura. Oh, yeah. What a song. Does it get you fired up? I mean, I lost some money on the game, so I probably should be as excited as I am. That's good stuff, you know? Just reaches that point. Late in the game, Argentina trailing. Exit light. Enter night. Take my hand. We're off to Never Never Land. This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. Andres Cantor with the call on Telemundo. For people that don't know, Cantor has obviously been famous for a long time because of the iconic goal call. He is Argentinian. So this takes added significance and added pleasure, of course, for Cantor when he gets to call winning goals in the World Cup for his home country of Argentina. Great stuff from Cantor. Telemundo obviously crushes it for all of these big soccer broadcasts. Let's talk about England. What an unbelievable choke this was by England. And yes, Argentina won the game. And I'm telling you, Argentina deserved to win, and England deserved to lose. That's true. No question about it. It is also true that England choked this game away. Absolutely choked it away. And in doing so, Argentina continues to be their tormentors, among many in world soccer. Because now we go to 1986 and the hand of God and the goal of the century. We go to 1998 and in a delicious bit of symmetry and serendipitous nature, we had Diego Simeone in 98 goading David Beckham into a red card as Argentina send England home in penalties. And then Simeone's kid, who looks just like him, his son, starts the game last night for Argentina and immediately starts committing fouls against the English. 86, 98, 26. All big Argentinian wins against England. And in 86, it led to a championship. We will see if it leads to a championship in 2026. England parted ways, mutually, I believe, was the way it went down. But really, everyone knew that the expiration date had been reached with former manager Gareth Southgate. Now, if you remember the Gareth Southgate reign as England manager, which, you know, if you put him on as the manager of another country and then looked at his results after the fact, it would be extraordinarily impressive. Like, made the knockout rounds of a bunch of major tournaments, went to, the semifinals of the World Cup, went to a couple European finals, lost to Italy, lost to Spain, but could never get over the hump. The big criticism of Gareth Southgate, and I was one of the people that levied this criticism, right? How could you not if you watched the games? Was that Gareth Southgate, who took part in 1996, one of England's colossal failures in an international tournament, Gareth Southgate was too conservative, way too conservative, and you felt that when the going got tough, again, think about feeling pressure and applying pressure. The English would feel the pressure and not apply the pressure. England would take the lead in these knockout stage games, and instead of playing to extend the lead, they would play to hold the lead. In America, the expression that we use for this is instead of playing to win, you're playing not to lose. So England take the lead yesterday in the 55th minute on a sick goal scored by Anthony Gordon. A nice flick on a beautiful cross past Emi Martinez. England up 1-0. And be honest, now, after the fact, it's silly to think this, right, knowing how the game played out. But in that moment, did you think England were going to win? Because I certainly did. England were on the front foot. England looked, at worst, like the equal to Argentina, if not better than Argentina. I felt like the English were going to win. The reason why they moved on from Gareth Southgate is because Southgate in moments like this would get too conservative. And the thought was, hiring Thomas Tuchel, a German coach, part of me wonders, like, did he do this on purpose, a German-England rivalry? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here. The reason why they hired Thomas Tuchel was because Tuchel is a tactical genius when it comes to soccer. And in case you don't know about Thomas Tuchel, I could run through his CV for you. But you know, there's one result that I will bring you that I really think brings to the forefront the genius of Thomas Tuchel, who is unquestionably one of the great managers of this century in soccer, in international football and club football. When, in 2021, he managed Chelsea. And they're in the Champions League, and they make it to the final. And in the final, they play Manchester City, managed by the great Pep Guardiola, who, if you ask anyone who knows anything about soccer, will tell you that in this century, Pep Guardiola is the best soccer or football manager, period. Club or international. Numero uno. A number one, top of the heap, king of the hill. The best. The best. And in that Champions League final, Thomas Tuchel outfoxed Pep Guardiola. And an outman Chelsea team that Christian Pulisic came on as a substitute for Chelsea in that game and very nearly scored to make it 2-0 against Manchester City. Chelsea won the game 1-0. Tuchel is a superb knockout manager. Took PSG to the Champions League final, lost to Bayern Munich in Bayern's sensational run the COVID year. When Bayern, on that run, slammed Leo Messi in Barcelona 8-2. 8-2 en route to winning that Champions League. Thomas Tuchel is not a joke. Thomas Tuchel is not the type of manager or coach that you expect to do something like this. It's like in American sports, right? Like Kenny Atkinson doesn't call timeout in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final against the Knicks. And after the game, is anyone really shocked? Think about some of the brutal game managers in American sports where a coach screws something up and after the game, we're all just like, yeah, of course. That always happens. What a shock. This is a shock that this happened because Thomas Tuchel doesn't do this. He has this reputation, well earned, of being a mastermind, an unbelievable coach. I'll use the American term X's and O's. You understand what I mean, though? He's great with this stuff. And he completely melted down here. And even if you want to galaxy brain this, you want to Cirque du Soleil contort yourself to mentally explain, well, actually, what he did was right. And what he did was decide, after England took the lead, we want to win this game 1-0. We're done with trying to score. We're going to make all these defensive substitutions, and we are going to hold on desperately to try and win this game. Even if you want to delude yourself into thinking this was the right tactical move, just answer this question. Do you really think, now look, you do this in like the 85th minute? Okay, I get it. Like 7 minutes to go to the World Cup final, you want to play defense with a 1-0 lead? I understand it. He did it way too early. Like, the game plan can't be that we are just going to play defense, all-out defense, park the bus against Leo Messi. It's like you're playing Michael Jordan and the Bulls, you're up by 20 in the fourth quarter, and you're running out the shot clock every possession instead of building the lead. You're up by 2 scores against Peyton Manning and the Colts, and you play the prevent defense for the middle of the third quarter on. That's what this was. This was, you are playing one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if not the best, and you roll out the prevent defense. And on offense, you go run, pass, punt every possession. That's what this was. Call a spade. Be honest. I wanted England to win. I bet on England. That's what happened. That's what happened. prevent defense, run out the shot clock, run, pass, send out the punt unit. They played not to lose instead of playing to win. Instead of trying to go up 2-0 on the team that's come back against everybody in this tournament, they played to win 1-0. And you could feel it, right? We all watched the game. We all watched. You could feel it. It would have been an absolute miracle if England had gotten away with this. And they could have. They got away with it to a degree at the Azteca against Mexico. They got away with it to a degree against Norway. Not against Leo Messi. No. You can't play. You cannot. I don't care what anyone has to say about this. You can't play all-out defense against Leo Messi and Argentina and hope to win. It is a brutal, brutal tactical blunder. To the point, honestly, they announced this morning, Fabrizio Romano, who's like the Adam Schefter of soccer reporting, tweeted that Tuchel's coming back and he's going to manage the team in Euro 2028. I'd sack him. I'd fire him. And look, maybe England have a huge turnaround, and maybe they win maybe they win Euro 2028. Really though? After this, you want to bet on that? After what happened yesterday, you want to bet on that? How terrible this was? And again, this is a guy that you do not expect this from in Thomas Tuchel. That's what's so stunning about it. He should know better. We've seen him do better. That is what is so shocking. And I'm not trying, sincerely, I'm not trying to take blame away from the players. Like, there's a headline in a London paper, Kane not able. Like, we're going to blame Harry Kane for this loss. Like, really? Like, you want to blame Jude Bellingham for this loss? And the insinuation is not that they're blameless in this. Of course, everyone can take blame, right? Could Harry Kane have scored a goal? Absolutely. Could Jude Bellingham have scored a goal? Of course. Of course. But you know what? When the coach, the manager makes a decision to defend for 30 minutes against Leo Messi in Argentina, you got issues. Of course you lose. And that's why I say they deserved to lose and Argentina deserved to win. On the other side, we will go through in detail England's failures in the last 60 years of international soccer. And I'm going to tell you why yesterday's loss, bar none, is the worst out of all of them. And an early preview of the World Cup final with Argentina and Spain. Next.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
The legendary Tommy Smith will join us to start next hour. Can't wait to hear Tommy Smith's thoughts on England's choke job yesterday against Argentina in the World Cup. Okay, let us now run through the storied history of English soccer collapses and knockout stage losses since it came home in 1966 when England won the World Cup at home and beat Argentina on the way there. What a time to be alive that was if you were an English soccer fan. Since then, we have the hand of God against Argentina in the 86 quarters. We have the 1990 semis in Italy against West Germany, losing in penalties, go down 1-0, equalize, and lose in penalties to West Germany. West Germany would go on to win the final and beat Argentina in the final. We have David Beckham and the red card in 1998 against Argentina and Diego Simeone. We have the 2018 semifinal against Croatia, up 1-0, losing 2-1 in extra time to Luka Modric and Croatia. We have knockout stage World Cup loss to Germany along the way there in a game that was not really close. We have the quarterfinal loss in 22 in Qatar to France with a Harry Kane missed penalty. That's just the World Cup. We haven't even gotten to the European Championships yet. 1996, penalty shootout loss in the Euros to Germany. 2004, penalty shootout loss to Portugal. That European Championship in Portugal, that tournament won by my Greeks, beat Portugal 1-0 on Angelo Haristeas header in the second half. I ordered that match on pay-per-view. True story, in 2004. How about losing to Italy in 2012 in the Euro semifinals before Spain wiped the floor with the Italians in the final? In the 2021 European final, England led Italy. Italy won in penalties. And then the final against Spain in the last European Championship a couple of years ago, when England equalized in the 83rd minute, only for Oyarzabal and Spain to steal it right on the stroke of extra time to give Spain the European Championship and another English defeat. You can argue, and I will make that argument in a moment, but first we have to pay the bills. Because BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager made up entirely of any sport wagers to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win the wager made with the token, you'll receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly. You can argue that given, A, the history between these countries, both on the pitch and geopolitically, and B, this English team being what it is, the manager being who he is, and holding a second half lead, that this is the worst of all of them. Now, perhaps you'd like to go to the Euro final against Italy. I'll say that winning the European Championship would not near... This makes sense, right? If you're the United States, would you rather win a smaller international trophy or the World Cup? Do you think England would rather win if they could choose the European Championship or the World Cup? Semifinal loss against Germany obviously hurts in 1990. This one's worse. It's Argentina. 2018 against Croatia. Sucks to lose a semifinal. This is Argentina. They hate each other. And the Argentinians really, really hate the English. This is as bad as it gets. England, this sounds like a made-up statistic. I assure you it is not. From the Anthony Gordon goal to put England up 1-0, to the Lautaro Martinez go-ahead goal to put Argentina up 2-1 in the 92nd minute. In between those two events, England had 12% possession of the ball. 12%. You couldn't make this up if you tried. 12% possession. All in front of them. Glory awaiting. A final, and they would have been dogs against Spain, but you know what? You beat Argentina, who the hell knows what happens? Instead, more misery. And Tomas Tuchel can say after the game, and to be fair, he's right. He can say after the game that basically past failures don't have to indicate future failure. He can say that. But him and England did not exactly beat the charges yesterday in blowing that lead against Leo Messi and Argentina. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you. Coming up on the other side, we will preview the World Cup final as we move along. Tommy Smith of ESPN gets it started right after this.
biggest names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
This is Bob Costas, not Kostos, but you are listening to Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening, as you do every day, to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports, brought to you by BetMGM.
The tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our crew, and you, here on Westwood One Sports. First hour of the show, absolutely on fire, dedicated entirely 60 straight minutes of England-Argentina breakdown from yesterday. Two things can be true. England lost the game, and Argentina won the game. The greatness of Leo Messi continues to be on display, but as I told you, don't get it twisted. Leo Messi has not always been a winner for Argentina. Debated stepping away from the Argentinian national team prior to the 2022 World Cup, which obviously Argentina won. What a run it's been since then. Still the best player at age 39. Proved it again yesterday. Just a mind meld assist right on the forehead of Lautaro Martinez for the go-ahead goal. Argentina win 2-1. And Thomas Tuchel absolutely got it wrong for England with his tactics. Way too defensive. Basically, playing to win 1-0 against Argentina, to me, feels bad. And I understand the schedule is a grind and it's brutal and the players can be tired. Also, you have to play a little more aggressively. And I'm surprised that Tuchel did that because he is a manager that rightfully has a better reputation than that. And I brought up the 2021 Champions League final for Chelsea against Pep Guardiola in Manchester City, where I thought Tuchel outmanaged Guardiola in that game. I can't believe it was Thomas Tuchel and not somebody else, not Gareth Southgate, not another English manager that oversaw what happened yesterday. We will preview the final coming up with Argentina and Spain a little later in the show. But joining us right now to recap what has been just a 10 out of 10 World Cup. And I love all the American sports fans that have gotten really on board with soccer. This has been absolutely wonderful to help recap yesterday, England, Argentina, and preview the World Cup final coming up on Sunday. I don't know if he will remember this. Maybe he will. But the great Tommy Smith joins us here on the show, ESPN, Sirius XMFC, at Tommy Smith, ESPN. But Tommy, once upon a time, I was a student at Fordham University, working at WFUV 90.7 FM in the Bronx, and you used to come in and talk to us on weekends, right? I think that your wife was broadcasting at the time, and you would just be there on Saturday mornings, eating bagels and drinking coffee while we were doing the sports talk shows for the college radio station. So I haven't talked to you, I feel like, in a couple decades, but great to have you on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Bob Abrams used to be around that time, and Trassa was doing the All-Ireland finals on WFUV.
Yeah, Bob is still with us. Bob is doing great. I saw him last year. Bob is doing awesome, so it's great to have you here on the show. So, Tommy, let's just begin with this. Your impressions, wherever you want to take it, of Argentina's scintillating 2-1 win yesterday against England.
Well, it was a case of England thought they had Argentina where they wanted them, and they did, but they changed the tactics, and then they didn't have them where they wanted them. The way I put it is England parked the bus, but Argentina said, we'll take a taxi and we won't pick up any passengers along the way. We'll just score goals. I mean, if Thomas Tuchel, as you rightfully put it there in your introduction, if Thomas Tuchel thought that he could hold Argentina out scoreless for probably 40 minutes and maybe added minutes. It could be 50 minutes. I mean, there was something wrong with him. He wasn't thinking straight, because when you get Messi around and the company that he keeps, they will get a goal sometime. I mean, I do Grumpy Pundits on Sirius, and every Tuesday we talk about Lautaro Martinez as being the best goal scorer that's in Italy and one of the best finishers in the world. He's lethal. And Messi put it on a plate for him yesterday, and he just banged it in, and that was the end of Thomas Tuchel and his dream of getting to the World Cup final.
Do you, because I want to be like really honest with the audience. I think, Tommy, it would be fair to say, if you put me personally, Nick Kostos, in a room with 99 other American soccer fans, I think it's fair to say that I probably know the most. Now, there are a lot of Americans that know more than me, but I think I know a lot. But you know more than me, a lot more than me. So I want to know if you think this is a fair or unfair. I think it's fair, but you know more than me. Do you agree with this or not? I've watched Thomas Tuchel manage throughout his career, right? I think he's an excellent tactical manager, to the point that when England made this hire, I'm thinking, yeah, this is what they need. I think that he's going to do a great job for England. I watched him in 21 outfox Pep Guardiola. And I use like the American equivalent for American sports fans of, like, there are some coaches that screw up a game and after the game you say, well, of course, that's what always happens. And others where if they screw up, you're shocked that it happened. I'm in the latter camp here. I can't believe that he oversaw this. Do you agree or disagree with that assertion by me on Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah, I agree with it. I couldn't believe that he figured that, if you go back to the day before, when Spain scored a goal, they decided, hey, we need another one. Yesterday, when Argentina scored a goal, they didn't say, there was a couple of minutes left. They didn't say, oh, we're going to play to get the extra time. They said, we need another goal. Thomas Tuchel got the goal 55 minutes in, and he said, okay, I'm going to play defensively. But there's a little caveat to that as well. I mean, the players that he took with him from England wasn't a very good choice. I mean, Cole Palmer is a brilliant player who can hold the ball. Manu with Manchester United, another brilliant midfielder that can hold the ball. What England needed yesterday was, it's fine, you know this, Nick, bringing in Dan Burns is fine, because he's a big old-time defender. The ball comes in and he heads it out. The problem with that is, and you've seen it against Mexico as well, is that when he heads it out, he doesn't head it to anybody in particular. He's heading it out, and somebody grabs it and it's back in again. And they were all bragging about, oh, Dan Burns had six clearances. The reason why he had 6 clearances was he probably caused 5 of them himself, because he headed the ball out to somebody that was going to knock it back into him, and he has to head it out. Nowadays, you need a defender that not alone can head the ball out, he can head it to one of his own players, or even better still, you need a defender who can put the ball at his foot and say, I'm going to carry it out of here. And that way you don't... I mean, England, just the pressure came. It was like waves of pressure coming, waves, and they had no answer. And at that point in time, also another point which really surprised me was England were gassed. They had nowhere to go. They had no legs left at that stage.
Okay. So you're clearly right about that, right? That England's gassed. Now, I could be wrong about this, so I want to serve this up for you and get your opinion, right? I understand that the World Cup schedule is a grind, and I understand extra time against Norway and altitude at the Aztec. Like, I get it. It feels to me, Tommy, beyond unacceptable that we're at a point where we're in this is the World Cup semifinal and guys are gasping for air. Meanwhile, you have Scaloni, the Argentinian manager, saying after the game that my guys were playing like 7- and 8-year-olds, and he means that in a complimentary way, right? They're playing loose, they're playing with fun. They're not, carrying all the baggage and the potential consequences of losing on their backs like clearly the English were here. Like, for me, I hear that and I think, no, that's not an excuse for the English. What do you make of that?
No, I don't think it should be an excuse neither, because Argentina also played, they had to play against Cape Verde, and they had to go to extra time as well. So, if you're fit, you're fit. And I know, okay, maybe the English have a slight complaint in the sense that they're not used to this kind of weather in terms of having to deal with it every day, and they've been here for 5 weeks. So, I mean, by now they should be accustomed to it. You should be fit enough. You should be fit enough. You should be trained that you expect I mean, to win a game in the World Cup is a huge honour. You've seen countries like Ecuador, they declare a day's holiday after they win a game. If you get into the semi-final of the World Cup, you should be prepared to put your life on the line and play for as long as it takes. I mean, if you have to play 15 minutes, you have to play another 15 minutes, it's 30 minutes. You should be fit enough to do that. So I don't buy that as an excuse at all. And this thing about, I asked somebody during the week on Grumpy Pundits, a man who wore the English jersey. I said, is there a special weight in the English jersey when you put it on, because there's that much pressure from the media? And he said, not at all. He said, that's the day you hope for. He said, you hope for the day when you can put your jersey on and that you are heading towards a World Cup final. He said, remember, England haven't been in the World Cup final since in 66 years. They haven't won it. And only 8 teams have ever won the World Cup. So it was a huge, huge opportunity for them. There was no question they should have done better, and they should have been able to see it through, and they didn't see it through.
It was announced this morning, Tommy, that Thomas Tuchel will return as England manager for the 2028 European Championships. In your estimation, is that the right move for Tuchel to return? And why?
In my humble opinion, no. And I don't think it'll happen. He may be announcing it now, and the FA have announced it, yes, they want to do that. I mean, they're trying to save a bit of face at this point in time. But I think wiser heads will prevail. Because, I mean, if you look at what Southgate did, Southgate did basically the same as Tuchel. Tuchel was brought in, and it cost a lot of money to bring him in, to get England to a World Cup final and win a World Cup final. He hasn't done that. You think they're going to let him hang around to the next World Cup so that England can win a World Cup for Tuchel? I mean, it's fine to say we'll win the Euros. That's not the big prize. The big prize here, and the big prize is, don't forget it, the big prize is Sunday, the World Cup final, when Argentina and Spain will square off.
And I think it would be one thing, and like, I'm an American saying this, so take it for what it is. It would be one thing if he were English, if this were like Gareth Southgate and this were his first tournament. Like, Thomas Tuchel's German. I'm not saying that the countries like don't like each other at this point in time, but I mean, maybe there's a little something there with that. Is it your sense, Tommy, just to be clear here, if you had to say yes or no right now, and like you don't, it's not your decision, but just curious your opinion, this can be a pencil, not pen answer. Will Thomas Tuchel, in your estimation, be the manager for England at Euro 2028? Yes or no, and why? If I made you choose one of those two options.
Well, I'm going to choose no. I'm going to choose no, and I'm going to, when people sit down now, and, they're started already in England, I mean, the English press can be really ugly. They can be ugly towards their own team as well as being ugly towards the opponents. But they're started, and they have come upon 31 dark arts that Argentina used. But now, after that, they have reacted in that manner. You know what's going to happen next week, Nick? They are going to start saying, okay, let's have a look at the manager. Let's see what the manager did right. Let's see what the manager did wrong. I mean, he had Rashford on the bench. He had several other attackers on the bench that he could have put in. Yeah, Saka. He had several of them to put on the bench, take them off the bench, put them out on the field. But instead, he kept going to defenders. They are going to ask that question. And I don't care what Thomas Tuchel tells you now, oh, I did this, I did that. It's going to be divided up amongst a lot of people, and they're going to say, hey, these were not good decisions. These were not decisions made that were going to win England a World Cup. Because the suits to be, they know the game. They know what you do right, and they know what you do wrong. And in my opinion, everything that Tuchel did yesterday after England got the lead was wrong.
And it's shocking, given how awesome a manager he's been at the club level. Like, he's a great manager. He's not a bad manager. It's what makes it so surprising. You bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos, Westwood One Sports, joined by Tommy Smith of ESPN and Sirius XM FC. How do you use the dark arts? It does feel like that at points with Argentina. Keep pulling it out of their derrieres at the ends of these games, but they feel like the great Yankees teams, the Tom Brady Patriots. You think they're down? Absolutely not. How do you put this Argentinian run into perspective, Tommy?
Well, they just never give up. And the unfortunate part of it is that this was nothing unusual. The English are complaining about all the things that happen. Like when I was on ESPN covering South American soccer, this is very usual. This is the way they play. For the first 30 minutes, they intimidate you. If they can intimidate you, there'll be late tackles. There'll be tackles after the play is gone. They'll get in your face. They will really give you a bad time. And then in the second half, they will settle down. And that's the way Argentina has played this World Cup. First half, they haven't been great. But I'll tell you what, they're leaving their mark on the game in the first 45 minutes, even though they haven't played very well. The second 45 minutes, then they start to play football. And I mean, this is an Argentine team that, keep in mind, they are world champions. They won the World Cup the last time around. I know they're 4 years older and there's 4 more years under the belt, but there's also 4 more years of experience. And they're using that experience. I mean, this is an incredible run. In the last game, there were 2 goals down with less than 10 minutes to go. This time they were a goal down with less than 10 minutes to go. And on each occasion, they pull it out. In a World Cup finals, that is magnificent. There is no other way to describe it. Just they are magnificent the way they can do it.
We all, and I'll speak for you here because I feel comfortable doing so with what I'm going to say. I think all of us collectively, Tommy, like no one thinks Leo Messi's bad or close to it, right? But I think, for me at least, I feel this way. At age 39, right? And playing in MLS for the last couple of years, my expectation for Messi was that he would be great. I didn't necessarily, and maybe this is my fault, and you felt the other way here, and you would have been right and I would be wrong. I didn't necessarily expect this. For him to still be the best player, despite being A, almost 40, and B, playing the last couple of years, club football for Inter Miami and MLS. Like, am I crazy here for thinking that this is completely out of bounds what he's doing here?
Well, let me ask you a question, Nick. Would you rather he was playing in MLS or he was playing in the Premier League? I would rather that he was playing in MLS because it's going to be a much rougher ride in the Premier League for 4 years than it is in MLS.
That's a great point.
He gets a lot of respect in MLS. In other leagues around the world, he would not get that respect, and he would have his ass kicked every day that he went out. Doesn't happen in MLS. So Messi has had a very nice, comfortable 4 years where he has kept himself in good shape. And mind you, if you watch Messi now, there's a little thing that's different with Messi now. In the old days when Messi got the ball, he could take it and he could get around defenders. Watch now, he doesn't get around as many defenders as he used to be able to get around. In the last 2 games, he's gone off the boil a little bit. Okay, he provided the goals in the game against England, but he hasn't been scoring himself, and that's not Messi. Messi was known for his unbelievable free kicks. The free kicks have not been good in this World Cup from Messi, and the fact that he can't get around. The other thing is that the whole team plays for Messi, and I think their motto is, okay, we're going to play to Messi. If he doesn't get it, we might get it back again. But when he does get it, he will set up an opportunity for us again. So it's one for all and all for one, but Messi is the key component.
I'll tell you what, I felt like he was going to goal of the century England like Maradona did in '86 in the first half before he got like hip checked by an English player. It was exceptional. I have one more Leo Messi question, and then I'd like to ask you about the World Cup final on Sunday. I think, Tommy, and I said this before you came on, right? I think the explosion of popularity of soccer in this country is going to be incredible following this stellar World Cup on American soil, right? But one thing that I keep trying to say to the audience is, because it feels, right, because Argentina won the last World Cup and they're in this final and Messi's the big star, that the feeling is that this has kind of always been how it's gone. And it's much more Shakespearean than that, right? For Messi's run in Argentina, where there were so many failures, right, before this run of success that he's on. And to me, I think like knowing that full picture and the full story makes what's happening now, Tommy, even sweeter. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree with you totally. I mean, you're the first person that I've heard say and bring up about Messi not wanting to play for the Argentine team. I brought it up, and I got so much pushback on grumpy pundits about it that there was this and there was that. He didn't want to play for Argentina. It was that
happens.
Simple. Now he's playing for Argentina.
People like Tommy, it happens. It happened. They lost the Copa final, and he said after the game, "I don't think I can do this anymore."
Right. And I mean, the pressure now of getting yourself ready to play international football. And I mean, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. There are so many players in this World Cup who have played well. I'll give you an example. Gakpo played very well with the Dutch. But when he plays with Liverpool, he's a very average player. It's been known throughout the days of yore that, sometimes players play well internationally and don't play well club level, or play halfway decent at club level. In other words, there's a lot of players who are better international players.
Like James Rodriguez, right, for Colombia. Much better for Colombia than he's been for a club.
Exactly. That's the greatest example you can come up with, because remember what he did with the World Cup. He set it on fire, and he didn't set anything on fire when he went to Real Madrid, and he has struggled since. So Messi is just a different little genius. That's all he is. I mean, you forget the rules when it comes to Messi, and Messi writes the rules as he goes along. I like to say, when Messi, I commentated on the very first game that Messi, when he came on as a sub for Barcelona, and he was only a little kid. I had no idea that he was going to be like he is. But my motto with Messi is that Argentina need a goal. Pick up the phone, call the bullpen. Where's Messi? Get him the ball. Messi will get you the goal. And that's the way Argentina have lived with him.
Unbelievable. And I'll talk about this later in the show. Juicy little fun subplot. Messi going to play Spain in the final, where obviously he is beloved at Barcelona, where he starred for many years for the Catalan Giants, Barcelona in La Liga. Tommy, final question. Argentina-Spain, a worthy World Cup final on Sunday. Feels like best team versus best player. Spain v. Argentina. Who wins and why?
Well, I picked France, but I changed my mind in midstream because of the way that Spain play. Spain are like the kid that comes to the playground, and he has the ball with him. And when they're picking the teams, he said, I'm going to be on one of these teams. If I'm not on this team, this ball doesn't go into action. Spain feel the same way about the ball when they get it. They hold on to it, and you just can't get the ball away from them. And then they can go up the other end of the field. And Lamine Yamal is a star. Write his name down, folks, because we're talking about Messi now. 10 years from now, the world will be talking about this young Spaniard. He had his 19th birthday day before yesterday. Okay, he hasn't had a signature playing career in this World Cup, but what he does is he provides so many opportunities for the players around him, because when he gets the ball out on that right-hand side, watch for him. He's got a lovely haircut. He's out on the right-hand side. He's very classy. He will draw a defender, but not alone will he draw a defender. That defender is so scared there's another defender coming tracking him. So we have taken somebody out of the middle that could be blocking things up. That will happen tomorrow, and they will create opportunities down through the middle. Spain are a brilliant team at the moment. They have given up one goal in this World Cup competition. They've they've been unbeaten in 37 games. Only the great Italian team ever equaled that. So if they go one and they win Sunday, which I expect they will, they'll hold the record for the most unbeaten games ever in international soccer, and that would be a great way to cap off winning the World Cup for me.
And we'll have a chance, like they did in 08, 10, and 12, Euro World Cup Euro. This would be Euro World Cup with an eye towards the 28 European Championship for Spain. And last note, Lamine Yamal, where does he play club football for everyone out there? Leo Messi's famous team, FC Barcelona. You can't make this stuff up. It's absolutely the best. Tommy, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this. Loved having you on the show. Great to catch up with you, my man. Stay well, and I hope to do this in the future.
Great to see you doing so well. I'm delighted to talk to you again, and enjoy the final. And Trassa sends our best regards to you, my wife.
I love that. Tommy Smith joining us here on You Better, You Bet. That's a true story. So when I'm in college, Tommy's wife hosted, I don't want to I may get the details wrong, but it was like an Irish music themed program on WFUV 90.7, the Fordham radio, which is a 50,000 watt radio station. So I remember showing up, this had to be fall 2001, my first semester at Fordham, showing up to host One on One, which is New York's longest running sports call-in show, hosted by college kids, right? I was one of those kids. And showing up and Tommy Smith's sitting there like eating a bagel. And I'm like, where am I in Bizarro World? Because I knew who he was, obviously, from watching sports my whole life. So that was pretty cool. Great guy, not only on the air, but I can tell you, because I spent time with him, great guy off the air as well. Another guy that's great on and off air is our friend John Yastrzemski. He'll join us on the other side to preview the second half of the Major League Baseball season with me, Nick Kostos, and you, whoever the hell you are, right after this.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
All right, second half of the Major League Baseball season starting tonight with the Mets and the Phillies. Joining us right now to help us preview the second half. And I'm sure we'll go in a bunch of different directions here because we love the guy that's joining us right now on the show. He did an amazing, to the point that Bill Zimmerman texted me after the show and was like, man, JJ was awesome. I'm like, yeah, duh, of course JJ's awesome. JJ's absolutely the best. John Jastrzemski, New York, SNY, joining us here on the show. This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. JJ, welcome to the show. How's it going, my man?
Nikki, we're doing great. It's always a pleasure to be on. It was a blast to work with Billy Z and the team. And basically, the goal of the show was don't crash the car. You know, you got it humming 65, the center lane. Actually, who am I kidding? You got it humming 85 in the left lane, and we wanted to make sure we kept it going. We had a fun time doing so, and now it comes full circle, and I'm back with you. Let's go here.
I'm curious if you kind of have had the same experience that I've had now that you're a dad. And honestly, it's kind of been, as I've gotten, I'm a little old, a couple years older than you, so maybe, I don't know if you're there yet. Like I feel like probably when I was your age, I was there. Where when I'm younger, like early 20s, mid-20s, I drove like an absolute idiot. I'm like weaving in and out of traffic. I'm not going like 100 miles an hour, but speed limit's 55. I'm going 70, 75. Now that I have a kid, because you mentioned the left lane and the middle lane, when I'm on the highway and my daughter's in the car, forget it, even if it's just me and my wife in the car, I drive in the right lane. I don't mess with you. I'm just like, my job as husband and dad, I feel like, is not to get from point A to point B in a certain amount of time. My job is to get from point A to point B and have everybody healthy. Are you with me on this, or are you a little more cavalier than me behind the wheel? Because I acknowledge I am very conservative at this point now.
Okay, I feel the conservative nature of driving, especially with a baby in the car. Like you have your little one, I have my little one. The only difference for me, Nikki, you mentioned the right lane. I feel like you tend to get more idiots in the right lane that don't know what they're doing.
That's
so
fair.
like
you got to go around those people, to be fair. You're right.
Yeah, my feeling with the driving is let's stay away from as many people as possible. So wherever I can get the most amount of space, I'm not saying I'm driving recklessly, but give me that little buffer to avoid stupidity. That is usually where I'm at, where it's like, okay, the less cars, the less idiots around John Jastrzemski and family, the better off we're going to be.
We'll get to the second half of the season in a moment, but you did an awesome job. You know, you for New York, your awesome New York sports podcast for SNY. You were tweeting about it. You were posting pictures on Instagram. I encourage people to follow JJ on all social platforms. You did an awesome job at All-Star. You were there for these festivities in Philadelphia. How was it being there for all of this?
Well, I love All-Star Week. You know, Nikki, you know this from going to the Super Bowl. It's like this great convention. That's basically what you get with baseball. You run into so many different people. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, which is outstanding. The Derby was amazing, like absolutely positively amazing. And this is where I got to give Philly credit. I love the fact that Philly basically was like, okay, if you're not Kyle Schwarber, if you're not Bryce Harper, we are booing the crap out of you. It was amazing. Like the idea that you had good guy, bad guy, or in my case, I had money on Junior Caminero and Jordan Walker in the Derby. So I was rooting for those two guys like crazy. And I love the fact that Walker shut everybody up and you had the entire crowd stay for the Derby. That was epic theater. The game, and I saw your video on this and I couldn't agree more. Total snoozer. Now, I bet the American League. I always bet the American League.
Same.
It was the definition of unwatchable. And it's why we are now at a point with the All-Star Game festivities. The Derby is the must-see event. Like the rules were great. The format was great. I want crowds to be like Philadelphia now more moving forward. We don't need the polite, lovey-dovey nonsense. Like, let's make this a good guy, bad guy thing if your people are involved. But the game, listen, unpopular take, and I don't know if it would change a whole lot as far as motivation and guys playing or whatever. I actually kind of liked when home field advantage was on the line, as stupid as it was. Like, it was at least interesting and a reason to watch. That game, there was no reason to watch after the fourth inning. It was terrible.
It was terrible. It was, and just like you know what? We don't need a concert. Can we just do sports? We don't need the concerts. It's we can. I promise.
Yeah, like
just
The Sandlot's a good movie. It's cute. It's great. We're stopping the game for 10 minutes. Come on.
I gotta. How about this? Rookie of the Year and Angels in the Outfield, both better than Sandlot. How about that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know
a
if
little
I'm
Henry
there with
Rowan Gardner
both.
action. Maybe not Angels in the Outfield. Rookie of the Year.
I can't get, even though the cast for Angels in the Outfield is really, really good, I can't get there with the movie. I think Rookie of the Year, you might have a case there.
Rookie of the Year is tremendous. Great movie. I'm the manager. Tremendous movie. What is, JJ, your favorite storyline in Major League Baseball as the second half of the season gets set to start tonight?
Wow, this is a loaded question. All right, I'm going to tell you selfishly my favorite storyline. Don Mattingly trying to manage the Philadelphia Phillies to a division title when Don Mattingly thought his baseball career was basically done when he walked out of the dugout Game 7 against the Toronto Blue Jays. He's with his son. It's a team that has the window really shrinking in a big-time way. Like, the Phillies are just getting old. That's the bottom line. Kyle Schwarber's not getting any younger. Bryce Harper's not getting any younger. Zach Wheeler's not getting any younger. They were in a great race in the NL East with the Braves and the Marlins lurking. And I think for me, listen, I could give you the Yankees and the Rays, but we all know I'm a New York guy, so I want to kind of think outside the box. To me, Mr. Kostos, it's Don Mattingly, this baseball lifer, trying to go and get the Philadelphia Phillies to a division and maybe to go and beat his former team in a playoff series. How fun would that be?
I think it's going to happen. I've said it a couple times this week on the show, and I'll do it a little later in the show today. The Phillies, JJ, are my pick to win the World Series. And I think that we're on the same page here. And, just from the Yankee perspective here, and yes, like JJ and I are both Yankee fans, we're both New Yorkers, but the Yankees are a national team, right? They're a huge team. Like, everyone pays attention to the Yankees. It feels to me, JJ, that the Phillies did what the Yankees should have done at some point in time, which is the current structure is not working. We need to do something different. The Yankees roll out every year with Boone and Cashman, and the same thing happens. Aaron Boone, the manager, Brian Cashman, the GM. The Phillies fired Rob Thompson. They did something different. I actually think that's going to get them over the hump. I think the Phillies, JJ, are going to win the World Series.
Listen, maybe this is the emotional heartstrings pulling. I just bet him at 17-1 literally 24 hours ago. I did.
Yeah.
Because the number was really juicy, and they have a team that, in theory, should profile well, right? Like Wheeler, Sanchez, that's an unreal 1-2 punch. You're throwing Luzardo. They need to get another bat in the outfield, I think, between now and the deadline. But I think they're the team best positioned to go and take out the Dodgers, right? Like the Dodgers, listen, they deserve to be favorites. They're by far and away the best team. But I'm glad that you brought up this idea of shaking it up. Nick, Philadelphia hasn't done this once. They've done it twice now within the last 4 years. They fired Girardi for Rob Thompson. That got them to a World Series. And they made the move, Rob Thompson to Don Mattingly, and it's worked brilliantly. And listen, you know the deal with the Yankees and Aaron Boone. He's there forever. It's like the Simpsons meme when Homer walks back into the power plant. Don't forget you're here forever. That's Cashman and Boone. And listen, I would have fired Aaron Boone after the 2021 wildcard game in Boston.
You're way nicer than me. I would have canned him after Lance Lynn in 2018. And how about
even after a 100-win regular season? Wow.
How about Jay Happ and Devi Garcia in 2020 in Game 5 against the Rays? I would have fired his ass.
That game 2 was an absolute disgrace. Now, I don't know how much of that was the front office and how much of that was him. But listen, you know why the Yankees keep Aaron Boone around? He's the charming face. He meets with the media before and after every game and shields the front office. He's the guy. He's the front man. He's the face. But Nick, to the Yankees, bigger picture. Okay, we could talk about the diatribes of what they should have done in the past. Here's the bottom line for them. If they cannot get to the World Series this year in this watered down, pathetic American League, and the Yankees are going to go and run it back and say, yeah, we're okay with the current structure being the way it is, then you're absolutely certifiably clueless. Clueless on so many different fronts and so many different levels. Nick, they better get to the World Series this year. Sorry.
If not the Yankees, JJ, and John Yastrzemski with us here on the show, if not the Yankees in the American League, then who?
I have a really hard time with this. I have to rule out immediately every single American League Central team. The only one that I would give like credence that they could go and win a couple of playoff series would be Detroit if they ever made the playoffs. And of course, if they decide to hold on to Tarek Skubal. So you know the deal with the American League Central teams. I don't care if Ramirez comes back. Cleveland's spunky. They're plucky. They can't win multiple playoff series because they don't hit enough. The White Sox are clearly not ready to go and win multiple playoff rounds. So let's rule out that division. Seattle, the odds makers are still respected, right? You see the graphic right in front of me. They're 12-1 to win the World Series. They, in theory, should be the team. I think Tampa is unbelievable in what they do. I love their front office. I love Kevin Cash, Rasmussen, McClanahan. It's a great 1-2 punch. I don't think Tampa has enough offense. And I don't think their bullpen is deep enough and good enough to get through playoff rounds. So Seattle would be my team. And if I had to give you a team that like snaps out of it, it's Toronto. Toronto's been a mess all year, but they're still kind of hanging around. They're still kind of laying in the weeds. They put the ball in play. They've got a bunch of gamers. They're the team I'm looking at. I know a lot of people, Nick, and smart people are going to make the case for the Red Sox. I don't see it with their offense. Their pitching is really good. I know they've gotten back in a race. You need to be able to score runs at Fenway Park in order to win. They don't have enough offense, in my opinion. So I would say Seattle, and if you're looking for a long shot, Toronto.
Toronto only 2.5 games out of the final wild card spot in the American League right now with a ton of season left to play. Now, in the National League, we both like the Phillies, but obviously the Dodgers have the best record in baseball. So I will ask you, if not the Dodgers, and if not the Phillies, then who in the National League and why?
Oh, geez. Well, the odds would tell you the Brewers. Sorry, I'm out on the Brewers. That's a pass for me. I don't trust their offense. There's just way too much evidence of them coming up short in the postseason for me to take them seriously. So I'm out on Milwaukee. I liked Atlanta, but they got pitching problems. They got serious pitching problems. Now, they can solve that if they go and add a couple arms at the deadline, and you can guarantee me Saylor's going to come back. Looking at that odds board right there, geez, I really don't like anybody, to be honest.
I agree with you. I don't like anybody either. I agree with that.
I don't like
the Phillies and the Dodgers.
Teams. But if I'm gonna make a case for somebody, it would be the Cubs, just based upon run differential, right? And like that's a good barometer to kind of judge a baseball team. Now it's not the be all end all, and it does have its warts because in postseason play, it doesn't matter if you win a game 9-1. If you're losing a bunch of close games, you go and lose a series, and nobody gives a what about your run differential. If it's not the Phillies, I think the Cubbies because there's enough within the lineup. There's enough within the pitching staff. They get some guys back. That would be the team, but I don't love it. And I wouldn't bet it. So let's make something clear, gang. You're betting somebody in the National League, it's really Phillies to pass for me.
Give me 30 seconds on this to close, and it's going to be a general NFL question. As we approach training camps open in a couple weeks, this could be about your Dolphins, one of their New York teams, something else. Something that John Jastrzemski is hot on in the National Football League as training camps get set to open here in a couple weeks.
That JJ, once again, has found himself a sucker for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I didn't love them 2 years ago. I didn't love them last year, but I love Joe Burrow. I can't get enough Joe Burrow. And one of these years, I feel like he's getting back to the postseason, and nobody's going to want to play him. So Cincinnati, Nick Kostos, buyer beware already. Oh, and it's bottoming out in Pittsburgh. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't think it's fair to Mike McCarthy. I will be selling Steelers stock every which way imaginable.
Wait, 10 seconds. So the Cincinnati Bengals will go to what round of the playoffs? Do they win the Super Bowl? 10 seconds on this. What is the forecast for Cincy this year?
AFC Championship.
And lose to who?
Josh Allen.
You might be right about that.
Got to happen eventually. Come on, man. Yeah. Josh got to win eventually. So
Does he? Does he?
Yes. Eventually.
We'll see. We shall see. Maybe. Hey, listen. We've been waiting for a Don Mattingly World Series for 40 years. Maybe it happens.
I mean, my quarterback's maybe went on the best ever. He never won. So who the hell knows?
Who? Malik Willis?
Nah. Hopefully. Hopefully.
I'm kidding. The great Dan Marino, obviously. JJ, great job on the show as always. The fact that you do this show sometimes fills me with unbelievable pleasure because you're the best. Thank you very much for the time. Stay well. Stay safe with this air in New York City, and I'll catch up with you soon.
It's disgusting.
It's gross.
So bad. Thanks, Nicky. Anytime, buddy.
John Destrepsey joining us on the show. I have a lot of Canadian friends, so I won't slander Canada too much. Just like, you want to be our 51st state? Maybe stop at the wildfires. I'm kidding. Not really. More baseball thoughts. Argentina-Spain World Cup final preview next.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Did your home run bet come up short? Well, thanks to this MLB No Sweat Home Run Token, you don't have to worry if your bet didn't clear the fences. Just activate your token when you bet on any player to hit a home run in any MLB game. If your player fails to go yard, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. Keep the action in scoring position with BetMGM, the king of the big swing. Download the BetMGM app today and please gamble responsibly. I really enjoyed that conversation with John Jastrzemski. I always do. JJ, one of my favorites in the sports media. And I meant what I said. You know, this show is hallowed real estate for me. But I put a lot into this. We all do. All of us that work on the show. And it's great for me. It's not just JJ, right? Chris Mack, Carrington Harrison, the people that do the show when I'm not here, like PJ Glasser. I want to know that the show's in good hands. And I love JJ. And the fact that JJ is one of the people that does this show when I'm not here just gives me tremendous confidence that the show is going to be great. So I really respect and appreciate, and I really like him. My friend Sal Licata is doing the show on Tuesday. I'll be back in action next Wednesday, going away this weekend with my family. As we just holding on to summer for dear life. I loved that JJ also loves the Philadelphia Phillies. And if you've watched or listened to the show for any period of time, you won't be surprised by the fact that I like the Phillies. Now that they made the move to fire, and I know it didn't happen now, but that they made the move to fire Rob Thompson, and Don Mattingly is now the manager. It's a similar situation in baseball to the Yankees, right? With Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, where, the same thing happens every year. Why would you expect something different to happen, right? It's the definition of insanity. I feel like the Yankees should have fired Boone and or Cashman a long time ago. Look at Buffalo, the Bills. They had to fire Sean McDermott. You can't keep losing in the postseason without winning. The Ravens firing John Harbaugh. I know Harbaugh had won a Super Bowl previously, but all those years losing with Lamar Jackson. No one has ever questioned that the Phillies have enough talent to win the World Series. There was just always something missing in October. Especially the last couple of years, whether it was losing the DS to the Mets, whether it was the Orion Kirkring disaster last year against the Dodgers, where it felt like, and we said it at the time, the winner of that Phillies-Dodgers series was going to win the World Series. And the Dodgers won, and then they turned out to be World Series champions. The Phillies have made the change that I feel like they needed to make. They shook it up. They did something different. And with Don Mattingly specifically, they have someone who is just as hungry as they are to win a championship. Former American League MVP, literally starred with the Yankees up until 1995, his final year, when he retired, and in 96, the Yankees won the World Series. I think this is the year that Donnie Baseball gets his World Series championship, and I think the Phillies will win the Fall Classic this October. Final hour, Power Hour, coming up on the other side. We will start the hour talking NFL with my friend, Ross Tucker.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Laura. You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our amazing crew, Ross Tucker, and you. The Power Hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. Coming up about 20-25 minutes from now, we will preview the World Cup final coming up on Sunday with Argentina and Spain. And I will tell everybody, and maybe it'll come up during this conversation with Ross Tucker, the NFC team that I think may have an explosive offense this year that I think people are not discussing the way they should be. That's all coming up a little later. Our bets for tonight will close the show, but joining us right now, one of my absolute favorites, a guy I've known for, I think it's like, we're old, man, like 2 decades now. Host of the Ross Tucker podcast, the very popular Ross Tucker on Twitter at Ross Tucker NFL. And he had a tweet yesterday that warmed my heart because Ross is the preseason color voice of the Philadelphia Eagles for their preseason games, that it's right around the corner. And Ross, you know how I feel about you calling games. I think Ross is the next great color commentator when it comes to football games on television. Great to have you on the show, my friend. How's it going?
It is going awesome. It's always good to be with you. Yes, I think it's been almost 20 years because I started doing some shows as a fill-in host in 2007 while I was on IR with the Washington Redskins.
Amazing.
Think about all of that. Think about everything I just said. 20 years, I'm on IR with a team whose name doesn't even exist anymore. We are officially getting old. I might have to stick around for this Argentina-Spain preview. Are you doing it yourself, or are you bringing on like a soccer expert?
Oh, I am the soccer expert. Not really. We had Tommy Smith on the show last hour on the show, but no, I feel good enough that I can give like a really good summation of how I think the game's going to play out.
You know what I think is going to happen? I think Spain's going to have like a 1-goal lead, and in the last 20 minutes, Argentina, Messi's going to somehow get 2 goals. That's my expert opinion based on watching these last couple games.
Well, I'll say this as someone and the audience.
I know you brought me on to talk. Yeah, I was going to say it's funny. I know you brought me on to talk NFL, but like what I will say is one of the common complaints in America about soccer is that it's boring, and the World Cup has not been boring. So you can't really say that it's been boring. I feel like a lot of times these games used to end 1-0 and there weren't very many scoring chances, but I don't know. It's been the most exciting World Cup I can ever remember.
Yeah, it's been great, and it's my hope as a huge soccer fan that the popularity from the World Cup that it extends forward, and people in this country are more into it. If not, that's cool too. Love the other sports obviously as well, but that would be great. But yes, we did bring you on, Ross, to talk American football as opposed to international football, and I'd like to begin, my friend, by asking you a fairly loaded question. Now, and I will give you, by virtue of the question, a chance to think of your answer if you don't have one immediately at the tip of your tongue. So Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, I've called him this week. He's the MVP of this week in sports media because on a week with not a lot going on except for the World Cup, he has given us a bunch of top 10 NFL lists every day for people to argue about. So on Monday morning, we got the top 10 quarterbacks list. And Josh Allen was number 1, right, in a poll of 70 anonymous coaches, executives, and scouts. I think Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback until proven otherwise. Ross Tucker, if I asked you right now, who is the best quarterback in the National Football League and why entering the 2026 season? Who would you say, and what would the reason be?
Whew. That is tough. I think I too would go with Josh Allen, and I'm a huge Mahomes fan. First of all, Mahomes, you can't forget, is coming off of a torn ACL late in the year. His mobility's a major factor, so I do think that is, let's call it an item of consideration if we're talking about who's the best quarterback for this upcoming year. I just look at the roster for the Bills and what Josh Allen has been able to do with them, and then compare it to the Chiefs or any of the other teams and any other skill groups. I mean, like, who has been his receiver? It felt like his go-to receiver in the divisional round against Denver was Brandon Cooks. I mean, what are we even talking about? It's not like the Bills' defense was great or whatever. And I think Greg Cosell said recently on the Raw Sucker Football podcast that over the last 3 years, the Chiefs have averaged 22 points a game. 22 points a game. The Chiefs. Now, Mahomes is magical late in games at making the critical plays to win, although there was a significant drop-off in that last year, obviously. And I think it's probably close between he and Allen if I only had one guy for one drive late in the game. But 22 points is not very many. I wonder how much Andy Reid needs to kind of change what he's doing schematically. But I think for the first time, I'll agree with Jeremy Fowler's cast of characters, and I'll go with our guy Josh Allen.
I wasn't planning on doing stuff on the Chiefs here with you, Ross, but you said something that I think was really interesting there, because I've thought about this as well, right? That maybe it's time for Andy Reid to kind of do something a little different. Well, okay, they make the decision to move on from Matt Nagy as the offense. And look, Andy Reid obviously is in charge of the offense, but Matt Nagy, who has been his top lieutenant the last couple of years, right, as the offensive coordinator. So the Chiefs have the opportunity to do something different, right? Not only do they not do something different, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Here's Eric Bieniemy back in town. And I'm not saying it's not going to work. I am always predisposed to think it's going to work if it's Patrick Mahomes. But they kind of double down on everything they've done in the past here. So when you look, Ross, at the balance of power in the AFC West with Denver and with the Chargers, where would you currently rank and let's assume Mahomes plays the whole year. Where would the Chiefs rank in that hierarchy of the AFC West with the Chargers and with the Broncos?
Well, so what you just said about Nagy and Bieniemy is fascinating, because I know you are a Giants fan, so I can't wait to see what the offense looks like for the Giants with Matt Nagy calling plays, because he hasn't done that since when he was the head coach of the Bears.
Yep.
So I'm really curious to see what it looks like Nagy calling plays with the Giants, especially when there's somewhat of injury concerns for the young triplets, right? Obviously, Malik Neighbors, then you got Scatterboo, then the whole Jackson Dart thing. So I'm curious about that. The Chiefs' talking point has been that Bieniemy holds guys accountable, and that Bieniemy will make sure, maybe where they've got complacent, that they're not anymore. We'll see. That sounds good, and maybe that helps guys lock in on the fundamentals, their conditioning, or whatever. But I do think if you just look at the statistics, you can make an argument that the league has sort of caught up to Andy Reid. Even when they do score, and I love Andy Reid, everybody loves Andy Reid, even when they do score, Nick, or move the ball, it seems like it's primarily through Mahomes' second reaction plays or Mahomes' off-schedule magic. It's like when you watch the Chiefs, how often are you like, man, this offense is humming, or this is really schemed up well? It seems like they're struggling. They certainly have fallen way behind sort of the Shanahan-McVay tree. People aren't really trying to get, although I guess Nagy's a little bit different, but people aren't really trying to get, Andy Reid disciples. They're trying to get Shanahan-McVay disciples.
It's a great point. And obviously the Giants were hoping to get Todd Monken to run the offense for John Harbaugh before Monken took the head coaching job in Cleveland, and Matt Nagy was a second choice at best for that job. And I think the Chiefs will be more run heavy this year right after the signing of Kenneth Walker. We'll see how it shakes out. I think, Ross, you're a perfect person to ask about this because you played in the National Football League, right? Because the expectation is, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, he thinks it's more likely than not that Aaron Donald will come out of retirement to play this year for the LA Rams and join Myles Garrett and Kobe Turner and Byron Young and Brayton Fisk on that defensive line. It's obviously going to be sick if and when that happens. Now, Donald hasn't played in 2 years, retired after the 2023 season. What would your expectations be, and what is a fair and reasonable expectation for us to have of Aaron Donald after a number of years away if he does indeed return?
I think it's like I've become more of a country music guy with my wife because she's a huge country music person, but I don't remember, I don't know a lot of 90s or 2000 country music. But who's the guy that said, I may not be good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever... Is that Toby Keith?
That is Toby Keith. Yeah, exactly. As good as I once was.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for Aaron Donald. I don't think he's going to be 50 snap Aaron Donald, all pro Aaron Donald, but I think for 5 to 7 plays a game that are high leverage plays where they really need him, I think he's still going to be able to go. I think he's still going to be able to be a difference-making player, which is frightening because you have Myles Garrett on one side, you have Aaron Donald on the other side. It's I don't want to say it's easy, but schematically you can really try to neutralize one guy. When it's two guys and one of them is an interior guy, the other one's an edge guy on different sides, it really gets complicated. They would have to try to chip help against Myles Garrett off the edge and then slide to Aaron Donald, which, by the way, then absolutely makes it 100% certain on those snaps that those other guys, like, Byron Young, whatever, that they're getting one-on-ones. Those other guys aren't slouches, like Fisk and Young. Like, those guys can play. And so if they can get in their stance and know 100% they've got a one-on-one, that I can tell you as a former offensive lineman, that is really, really scary. They don't need Aaron Donald to be as good as he used to be. They just need him to be as good as he used to be a couple times a game.
Ross Tucker here with us on the show, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. We will talk about the wonderful myfrontpage.com as we move along in this interview. I'll speak for you here, Ross, and if you disagree with me, please correct me. But I'm guessing that you feel like I do, right? And I'm not going to guarantee that it will happen, right? The Rams are the favorite to win the Super Bowl and the favorite to win the NFC. And if your life were on the line or if my life were on the line, I think I'd pick the Rams. But while acknowledging that that's true, that they are the best team on paper, I think we also have to acknowledge, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, right, that the NFC is absolutely loaded this year. There are a lot of really good teams in the NFC. So my question to you, Ross Tucker, is, if not the Rams in the NFC, then who and why?
It's a great question, and I would agree. I would have said I thought that the Rams were the clear favorites before the Myles Garrett trade. I would have had them as the clear favorites. I think you can make a really compelling argument that they were the best team last year. They had a couple of games in Seattle where one play goes differently and they win, including a very unique, let's call it, call on the 2-point conversion on the Thursday night game. So I think the Rams are sort of the prohibitive favorite. What I've been wondering, and maybe it was just the Chiefs a couple years ago, but when is the last time that the prohibitive favorite, won it, kind of went the distance? And by the way, a whole other story is in the Jeremy Fowler thing. It's fascinating that the 2 Super Bowl champs the last 2 years, neither one of them has a quarterback ranked in the top 10. I don't know what that says, but it says something about something. If it's not the Rams, I don't know. I think if it's not the Rams, I think there's 2 teams that come to mind above the rest for me. I think Seattle will still be really good, but I just think it's tough to duplicate that. I would go with the last-ditch, last-chance San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy, which they haven't, but they have in them. If those guys stay healthy, they have it. This is like, I think, with McCaffrey and Kittle and Trent Williams, I think this is kind of like the last dance for those guys. The other team that you can't count out is the Philadelphia Eagles. Their defense is going to be really, really good again. They still are very talented on offense. It all comes down to how well Hurts plays in this new offense. They're going to have growing pains. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose, 2 games out of the first 4. But if you look, it feels like every year when people are kind of down on Sirianni or down on Jalen Hurts, it seems like that next year they bounce back in a major way. They've gone to the Super Bowl in 2022, went to Super Bowl 1 at 2024. Last year, disappointing how it ended. As long as things click with the offensive scheme, I think they could be a force to be reckoned with. But that's going to take some time, and they might have some legit growing pains early in the season, and it'll be tough. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that adversity, because that doesn't go over very well in Philadelphia.
Ross, I know you have to be out in a couple of minutes. I want to hit you with one more thing before we talk about my front page story. And just like for you personally, and like Ross, I say this to the audience, right? Every time we have you on and we do this. Ross is my friend. Like, that's true. So like, I root for Ross always, no matter what. But I also believe, and I'm not just saying this because he's on the air, I would say this if he's off the air, right? I love listening to you call games. Your knowledge, your enthusiasm seeps through. Like, I legitimately think you're great at it, not just because we're friends. So you're going to enter a year this year where I believe that your responsibility is growing in this regard, which is awesome, right? So kind of like, what's your summer been like, knowing kind of what's ahead in this? And you do a lot of different things, but in this singular regard professionally for you. Give it to me in like a minute so we have enough time to promote my front page story.
Yeah, so I don't think CBS has announced anything about this season yet, so I don't announce anything either. I know there's been speculation or reports or whatever out there. I will just tell you, you say it every time I'm on. You say it to me personally. You text me sometimes. It really means a lot, man. I put a lot into it. I love doing it. And I know that you're not just saying that. And a lot of people I really respect in the football world tell me this, Greg Rosenthal, Christopher Harris, and these are people that watch every game. And so their praise means a lot to me. It's like it's like a 20-year overnight success. I don't know. There's people that are like, oh man, you're really good at how long you been doing? I'm like, I think I was doing Ivy League games in 2007. So, I really appreciate it, man. I'm beyond fired up for what's in store. And, I hope I never lose the passion and how much I love it, because I think people can tell. And Ross is psychotic in like the same way. I mean that as a compliment. You'll never lose that. It's in your DNA. It'll always be there. All right, Ross, listen.
we got some holidays right around the corner here. And I know that my front page story, I know about my front page story, but tell the audience about myfrontpagestory.com.
Well, first of all, we don't have any holidays coming, but that was a nice effort. Number one.
I started talking, and I realized I had talked
li-
myself into a corner. I knew it.
Literally zero holidays. Literally zero. So when he's giving you betting advice, just remember, this guy just said we have holidays coming up. It's the middle of July.
Man. I tried, man.
Here's what we do have coming up. September and October are evidently the two biggest months for weddings in the United States, which means they're the biggest months for anniversaries, which means, by the way, a lot of you married very selfish women that wanted to get married during football season, which should be illegal. But at any rate, you went along with it and you did it. So why not going along with getting her the best anniversary gift of all time, myfrontpagestory.com. You can either talk to a writer for 10 minutes, tell them how great your selfish wife is, or you can just fill out a quick email about your selfish football season wedding wife and tell her how amazing she is, even though she made you get married during football season. myfrontpagestory.com, myfrontpagestory.com. Your selfish wife who didn't want your buddy who's in the NFL and a broadcaster to be able to go to the wedding, she deserves it. myfrontpagestory.com.
Enjoy the rest of your summer, buddy. We'll catch up soon.
See you, man.
Our friend Ross Tucker joining us here on You Better You Bet. I'll say this about Ross. I don't want to turn this into like Ross Tucker Love Fest, just like I've known him for a long time. It is like a 20-year overnight success. You know, I don't know what year it was, but when we were all at NFL Radio together at Sirius, Ross like literally went to Steve Cohen, who runs VSiN now, but it was in charge of Sirius XM for a long time, like the whole time I was there and Ross was there, and literally said to, and because Ross was getting reps on NFL Radio but didn't have his own show, and said, I will like basically create and host a 1-hour morning show before the actual morning show starts. I believe it was like the morning kickoff, maybe some generic name, whatever. I don't mean that as an insult. From like 6 to 7. And he basically like convinced them to let him do it. And it turned out to be a huge success. It's like, he's a grinder. Good dude. Really good dude. And I'm happy for his success. And a great NFL analyst as well. All right. Quick break. Coming up next. Alvin Kamara is back with the Saints, what it means for the season, and my expectations for the World Cup final with Argentina and Spain here on a Thursday on Westwood One Sports.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Enjoyed the spot with Ross Tucker. I love that Ross, when I asked him about, if not the Rams, then who this year in the NFC, one of Ross's answers, San Francisco 49ers. I'm feeling it this year as well with the San Francisco 49ers. Niners Cowboys is my pick as it stands right now on July 16th, but I will say I'm going to reserve the right to change my mind. We've had no training camp practices yet. We'll make my official predictions right before the season starts, but I am leaning towards now a little 1992, a 93, a 94 rematch, a rivalry renewed on Championship Sunday with the Niners and the Cowboys playing for a berth in Super Bowl 61. I don't think we will see, I feel pretty confident in this, I don't think we'll see the New Orleans Saints playing on Championship Sunday this year. But I am pretty bullish on what the Saints are building, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now, yesterday it was announced, and it kind of felt like this was where we were heading. You remember when we had Kellen Moore on the show, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. He joined us, and we pre-taped the interview. I think we taped it on a Wednesday and played it on a Thursday because of the way the timing worked out. The live window didn't work, so we pre-taped it, we played it the next day. And I was talking to him a little bit off the air. It was during the NBA playoffs. He's a huge NBA fan. And I remember saying to him before the interview started, I said, look, the news came out that Alvin Kamara reported to camp. I'm going to ask you about it. I know you're not going to answer the question because I've been doing this a long time. And we had a laugh about it. I asked him the question. He didn't answer it. But it felt like Alvin Kamara was going to come back to the Saints. And Kamara last year had indicated that if the Saints wanted to move on from him in either a trade or releasing him, I believe the exact quote that he gave to the press was, I'll go somewhere and sip a pina colada. Does sound good right about now. So he was never going to play for another team. It was just going to be, do the Saints want him back? And that situation got a little murky when the Saints doled out a big contract to former Jaguars running back Travis Etienne, the former Travis Etienne, who now wants his name to be pronounced Etienne like Devon. So Travis Etienne gets signed, and we're all like, okay, maybe Kamara won't be back. Well, he's back with the Saints on a reworked contract because they were paying both running backs too much money, so he'll make less money now, Kamara. He'll be back in New Orleans for at least one more season, and he turns 30. He'll be 31 before the start of the NFL year. Just from a fantasy football perspective, because, fantasy drafts are right around the corner. I'm actually in one now, but they're right around the corner. It's not great for Travis Etienne, like it isn't. If Alvin Kamara is not there, then yeah, you can create a world where Travis Etienne absolutely smashes, and he's a 3-down running back, and he catches a bunch of passes, right? And he does well running the ball behind what I believe to be a pretty good Saints offensive line. But with Alvin Kamara there, do you think they brought Kamara back to have him sit on the bench? My insinuation is not that this is going to be a 50-50 split. It won't be. They gave Travis Etienne too much money for this to be 50-50. What could it be, 60-40? 65-35? Who gets the ball down by the goal line? When the Saints, and look, if you play fantasy football, and I think what percent of the audience does? 99? I think this is a question that you need to ask yourself, right, when you're drafting running backs. When the Saints go marching in, when the Saints are in 2-minute or in obvious passing situations, operating out of the shotgun, who's the running back? Is it Kamara or is it Etienne? It's probably Kamara, right? Probably is. Pass blocking, pass catching aplomb. Why do you think they brought him back? To not use him in spots like that? So this does not mean don't draft Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne could have a really nice year, but his upside is absolutely capped as a result of Alvin Kamara returning to New Orleans. You better you bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you, Westwood One Sports. Now that is the fantasy breakdown of Alvin Kamara returning from yours truly. And I consider myself to be, I'm like a fantasy player, A+ fantasy player. Love it. That's the fantasy breakdown. As far as the real-life Saints offense goes, and I talked about this with Coach Moore when he joined us here on You Better You Bet. Now, they haven't done it yet, so it's possible it just never happens, right? This is projection, what I'm talking about here. But I do think it's within the realm of possibility, given all of the characters involved, that this has the potential in the Bayou this year in New Orleans to be a pretty explosive offense. So we can first consider the play caller in Kellen Moore, who I think most would agree. Like, I don't think anyone is willing yet to put him in the McVay, Shanahan, let's put Reed in there tier of play callers. But he's probably on the Ben Johnson tier of play callers. He's probably not there yet, but he definitely has the potential to be, especially with the up-tempo nature that he likes to call games in, right? And we saw that last year. We talked about that last year, right? Remember, he was showing his team film of the Tyrese Halliburton Indiana Pacers with Indiana on its run to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, losing to the Thunder, but the breakneck pace at which the Pacers played basketball. And he brings that to the football field. So I like Kellen Moore a lot. I think he's a really good offensive coach. Is he a great head coach? I think early returns were decent last year, more good than bad, but I think it remains to be seen. But as far as offense goes, stud, right? Second-year quarterback in Tyler Shuck, who showed a pretty good amount last year in his time starting in the second half of the season, taking over for Spencer Rattler. So this is the same thing you could say about Jackson Dart, right? Or about Cam Ward. Second-year quarterbacks, right? Is it possible that Cam Ward is a monster this year? It is. Same thing for Jackson Dart. But you can also make the case that Cam Ward's not going to be good or Jackson Dart's not going to be good because we don't know yet. We're projecting, right? So if we're projecting Tyler Shuck, one of the potential outcomes is definitely that he's not really that good. It could absolutely happen. He's the 40th pick in the draft. I want to make sure I get this right because people joke about this a lot about his age because he's older. So Tyler Shuck is this is pretty crazy. Tyler Shuck's going to be 27 at the end of September. So it's not like he's a young second year. He's an old second year player. He's going to be 27 at the end of He's born in the 90s, Tyler Shuck. So he's not a young second year quarterback, right? So maybe it goes poorly. But I think it's fair to say, right? Think about what I'm saying right now. It's fair to say that he showed enough last year to think that a breakout is possible. Unquestionably good offensive line. The offensive line is good in New Orleans, provided health. Now, remember a couple years ago, which was in Dennis Allen's last year, and Clint Kubiak's calling the offense, and Derek Carr's still the quarterback, where the Saints had that stretch at the beginning of the year where they were putting up like 48 points a game, and then the offensive line got hurt in that Week 3 game against Philadelphia, and it all went to hell. This offensive line is good as long as it stays healthy, and I love the second-year left tackle Kelvin Banks. So I think the Saints' offensive line is good. We talked about the running backs already. Achane and Kamara might be a nightmare for fantasy, but for real life, it's going to be pretty good. Now, at receiver, here's Chris Olave, certified G and a bona fide stud, and first-round top 10 pick Jordan Tyson. Gets you a little excited, right? Now, you'd like another receiver to step up because as it stands right now, the third wide receiver job probably belongs to Devon Vele, the former Bronco, who's like 27 years old himself, is like a third or fourth year player. And, former Patriots draft bust in the second round out of Washington, Jalen Polk. Can one of those guys step up as a legit wide receiver 3? Maybe. But also maybe it doesn't matter. Because the Saints this year, and this will be, following along an offseason theme we've talked a lot about. The LA Rams last year kind of changed the offensive calculus in the NFL by using 12 and 13 personnel more than it's ever been used before, meaning 2 tight ends and 3 tight ends on the field at the same time. So what did New Orleans do this offseason? Juwan Johnson is still there. They go out and they sign Noah Fant, and then they draft Oscar Delp. It tells you, right? It tells you something, the resources that this team poured into the position. I asked Kellen Moore about this when he joined us on the show, and he's not going to give me, the industry secrets, the key to the playbook, but he's like, of course we pay attention to this stuff. So I think it's likely not definite, but likely, you'll see a Saints offense with Olave and Tyson and multiple tight ends on the field, Achane and Kamara, and this offensive line and a second-year quarterback who might be really good, and a coordinator, head coach / play caller that we really like in Kellen Moore. Now, I don't love the talent on defense, but I'm a fan of defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. I don't think Staley did a terrific job as the head coach of the LA Chargers, but as a coordinator goes, stud, man. Stud. And that's a weak division, the NFC South, where I don't think you can really make a case for the Falcons, although maybe crazier things have happened, but you can make a case for Carolina, the reigning champs. Certainly make a case for Tampa. I think you can make a case for the Saints. Now, I'm not going to predict the Saints to make a deep playoff run, but the point of this conversation is not to dunk on the Saints and say, they can't do this. The point of this is actually to say, they could do it. They could. What if Shuck's awesome? Not impossible. What if Tyson's awesome? I think that's likely. We know Olave's good. We know the line is good. We know the running backs are good. Tell me why this offense can't be awesome this year. The answer is Tyler Shuck stinks. Like, that's the answer. And we won't know the answer until the games start. But I think if you're a Saints fan, or you're a sports bettor, or you're a fantasy player, you're just a fan, right? And you're thinking about how's this season going to go. Don't discount the chance that this team blows up this year in a good way. I do think it is absolutely possible. I'll hold my thoughts on the Spain-Argentina final to close the show after this next break. Our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman, is here, though, with the trivia question of the day. Bill, what do we got?
All right, Nick. Well, we're going to do some World Cup trivia, and I never quite know if I'm giving you layups or difficult ones, but everyone's been talking about Lionel Messi and his career goals scored. Lionel Messi? You know, you heard of him?
Lionel, like the trains. Lionel Messi.
All right.
Lionel Messi. Yes.
My apologies.
He's only the greatest player ever. No big deal.
No big deal at all. Anyways, so we all know Lionel Messi has the most career goals in World Cup play, but there are 5 other players because of a tie that are in the top 5 for career goals scored in the World Cup. Nick Kostos, can you name those 5 players?
So these are the other players in the top 5 of World Cup goals.
So there's 6 in the top 5 due to a tie.
Okay, so Mbappe is one, obviously, because he's right behind Messi. Miroslav Klose is another.
He is 3rd.
Brazilian Ronaldo.
Correct. He is 4th, and you need the 2 tied for 5th.
Ooh, okay. The 2 tied for 5th. Do you know enough to know like what era these players played in, or no?
One of them is active, and one of them, I believe, is like 80s, 90s.
So is Harry Kane one of them?
Harry Kane is tied for 5th with 14 career goals.
And then we're talking 80s or 90s here. You don't know the answer to that, though. Dan Turner says 70s. Okay, so is it Pele?
It is not Pele. He is in the top 10, but he's not in the top 5.
Is it Johan Cruyff?
It is not.
I'm trying to think of what country this player plays for. Okay. Do you know based on looking at the name what country?
He's European.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, you gave me continent. I'm asking country.
All right, Germany.
It's not Lothar Matthäus, is it?
No.
And it's not Jurgen Klinsmann. No way.
It is not Klinsmann. Klinsmann, I think, is in the top 10, though. Klinsmann, I know, thanks to coaching.
Who? But it's someone from the 80s. I'm not. If it's not Matthäus and it's not Klinsmann, I'm not going to get it right. Who is it?
All right. Part of West Germany. Does that help? Not Germany.
No.
West Germany.
No, because that's Klinsmann and Matthäus also.
Gerhard Mueller.
Oh, Gerd Mueller.
Gerd Mueller. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. I would have gotten that if you gave me 100 years. Yeah, I did.
4 out of 5. That was
Klose was a great one. Klose was a badass goal scorer for the Germans. And he was another one of these guys that Tommy Smith was talking about. Not that Klose was a pushover for club soccer, but when he put the German kit on, he just transformed into something totally different, just like an epic goal scorer. So great trivia question from Bill. On the other side, how I see the Spain-Argentina, I have a strong take on the World Cup final. I'll give it to you next, and we'll wrap up the Thursday edition of You Better You Bet right after this.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Open Championship in the world of golf. Grab this boost pack and you'll have 2 chances to boost the odds on your tournament bet. Activate one of your boost tokens for any Open Championship bet, and you'll receive a bigger payout if your bet wins. From the opening tee shot to the final putt, get closer to the action with BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app today, and as always, please gamble responsibly. I'm going to be off tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, going away with my family. I'll be back on Wednesday on the show. You can follow me on social at the Kostos. We'll be posting reactions to the World Cup final there on Sunday. Thanks to our guest today, friend of mine and friend of the show, Ross Tucker, friend of mine and friend of the show, John Jastrzemski. And are me and Tommy Smith friends now? We might be. Friend of the show and friend of mine, Tommy Smith, as well today on You Better You Bet. Thanks to Bill. Thanks to... Tyler's not here today, I guess, right? Whatever. Bill, Kenny, Laura, Mike, and Dan. And thank you to Kate as well, our crew here on You Better You Bet. Bill, PJ Glasser hosting the show tomorrow. So the Glass Man will have you covered here in my stead on You Better You Bet. Now, I'm not betting the Mets-Phillies game tonight. I'm just being honest with everybody. Like, I'll be into betting baseball towards the end of the baseball season, into the playoffs. So, in lieu of talking baseball bets, let's talk about the World Cup final. Now, this matchup is scintillating for a number of different reasons. There is a picture circulating that looks like artificial intelligence, but it is real. And it's Leo Messi in 2007 holding like a 20-month-old Lamine Yamal as part of like a UNICEF thing at the Nou Camp, which is the stadium that FC Barcelona plays at. So it's a wild picture, and it's a young Messi literally holding baby Lamine Yamal. Messi is on record saying that Lamine Yamal might be the next him, like he's the next great young player, 19 years old. Helped star for Spain a couple years ago when Spain won the European Championship. Now, Yamal has not had his like big moment in this World Cup. Obviously has a chance to do it against his idol, Leo Messi, coming up on Sunday. And as I said when Tommy Smith was on the show, Yamal plays for FC Barcelona, which is where Messi played for the vast majority of his club career. Now, Messi playing against Spain in the World Cup, given the fact that Messi has been the apple of Catalan eyes for decades here, playing at Barcelona, starring at Barcelona, the greatest player in the history of La Liga, which is the Spanish domestic league, would be like if like LeBron played on the Lakers and they played the Cavs in the NBA Finals. Like, that's kind of like what this is. Messi playing, now he's Argentinian, obviously, but playing against Spain, where he starred for so long, where they love him, it's pretty juicy, right? So we have best team, Spain, the best player, never say die team, in Argentina. So who wins? Spain are the favorites at BetMGM, and a decent-sized favorite at BetMGM. A similar-ish market to the France-Spain game, where Spain were underdogs, which seems silly in retrospect, right? Spain is minus 165 to lift the trophy. Argentina plus 120. Now, I was wrong about France and Spain. I was wrong about England and Argentina. So take this with whatever grain of salt you'd like. I think the number is short. I would be, it's a crazy thing to say, because they're like the Jeter Yankees and the Brady Patriots. So maybe I'll be wrong again, and Argentina just wins, and they're down at the end and they come back to win, which really like wouldn't, I guess, can't really surprise us at this point, right? Spain are way better. So was England, to be fair. But Spain is not dumb in the way that England's dumb. And Spain are not disorganized in the way that England are disorganized. Spain will take a lead and choke this game out. And not allow, in the same way they did not allow Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele and Michael Olise and the French attack to get going. You really think they're going to let Messi just like run wild the way England did? There's no way. I'm not saying Argentina can't win. I just think it's going to be difficult, given that Spain is way better than they are. Give me Spain to win on Sunday. And you know, because I said before, Spain, France, winner of that game wins. I'm sticking with Spain. I'll be betting Spain. 2-0. So by the time I'm back here on You Better You Bet, I think we'll be talking about La Roja, Spain. World Cup champions for the second time in 16 years. PJ Glasser's got you covered tomorrow on a Friday. I will be back coming up next Wednesday. Until then, dear listener and dear viewer, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, and the absolute very best of luck. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.